Hello, Nerdquestians. I don't know. Is that the name we came up with?
That is the name we came up with.
Nerdquestians, hello. It is I, your fearless leader, Jacob, along with your other fearless leader,
Zorgulon, Destroyer of Worlds. Josh isn't here today.
Okay. So Josh is absent, apparently. We just got me and Zorgulon. Cool. And actually, we do have two guests. We have two returning guests.
Two lovely, very handsome guests.
Yeah,
Speak for myself.
We let him out of his cage today, but we do have
Conrad back again from the grave.
Well, as you know, one of our.
Why don't you stay there next time?
One of our mini returners. He's probably been on. How many have you been on? 3?
2 or 3 now.
2 or 3. Okay, and then we have
a different podcast before.
Yeah, you have. Yes. We also have
Matthew Jenkins,
and this is also your third one too, I think.
Third or fourth? Fourth, I think.
Fourth
or fifth. Somewhere. We can figure it out later.
Well, yeah, we'll figure it out later. But yeah, so it's no one new, the regulars. Okay, but it's an important topic today because the Harry Potter. I can't talk.
Not Harry Fonda.
The Harry Potter fandom has come back to life.
I know.
Risen from the ashes like a phoenix.
I wouldn't say we came back to life. We just stopped scribbling on the walls and with one hand free of our straitjackets.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
We just went insane after the movie.
But it's funny because Harry Potter came back before Sherlock did.
Sherlock fans, we feel your pain, and right now we don't actually care.
I never liked
I'm kidding. I feel your pain. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. But yeah, for those of you who haven't heard, because I'm sure there's a couple listeners who aren't in the Harry Potter fandom,
like the ones living under rocks.
I didn't hear about this until recently.
In fact, like this morning even.
There's a new film series coming out, and it's based off Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by the author Newt Scamander. I can't get it right.
Bullshit, you said it right before we started.
Scamander.
Yes.
Got it. But, yeah, and J.K. Rowling is writing the screenplay herself. She has, which is going to be good. And
it's Rowling.
I think it's a really interesting take on the fact that this is the first movie Harry Potter related that's going to come out, and we have no idea what the plot is. We don't know what to expect. We don't even know who's going to be in it except for Newt Scamander.
It's set in America. It's set in America.
Now,
set in New York during the Jazz Age. Yeah,
the 20s.
Ooh, that's gonna be nice. Yeah.
Now I didn't look at. I did a little bit of research before this, but I actually didn't look it up. Really? Is Newt American or is he British that just came to America?
I think he's British, but. To the interwebs, real quick.
To the interwebs. But yeah, it's
stall for me.
It's pretty exciting. It's nice to see it come back. But I thought it was kind of weird of all things to bring back. You base it off of a textbook, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Which means, of course, you get to go into the whole backstory of how he compiled it.
Josh is very excited for multiple reasons because it's all about the magical creatures.
Woo! I can't help but notice they didn't do Quidditch Through the Ages. Jake.
Yeah, well, you can go, fuck yourself. But no, it's kind of, but I think if anything, if you're going to bring it back and base it off of one of the side books Rowling's written.
Why not one of those?
Why not Tales of Beetle the Bard?
Probably because they're not a comprehensive, it's not all one story.
Yeah, and
it's true, but you could make it like a vignette kind of movie where
or you just meld them all together into one huge story.
That's true.
I mean, I don't think that they would have something concrete enough.
I feel like they're not going to touch it because it's fairy tales.
Yes,
I think I mean, if they could do anything with it, maybe make a short series on HBO or something, like a mini series or something, and have each episode be a story from the book.
What exactly is HBO again?
HBO is like pay-per-view. It's got like Game of Thrones on it and Boardwalk. It's where they have it's like cable TV.
It's the closest thing you can get to porn without actually going online.
That too.
No, but some fun facts about Newton Artemis Fido Scamander.
Yeah.
What?
First of all, that name.
That name, though.
Well, Newt.
Nafs.
Nafs, yes.
Nafs.
Newton Artemis Fido Scamander.
He's Nafs.
Okay.
But he's Newton, also called Newt, based on I wonder. Artemis, goddess of the hunt. Fido, common name for dog, and Scamander, something similar to salamander.
Yeah, animals. That's
He
the
was
message.
Evidently pulling this off of the Harry Potter wiki. He was born in 1897 and developed an interest in magical creatures at an early age, as his mother was a hippogriff breeder.
Interesting.
As a 7-year-old, he would regularly dismember horklumps in his bedroom.
I remember that.
Which means that he was either destined to grow up as a magizoologist, like he did, or a serial killer.
That would be
pretty much.
Yeah, for all those who can hear it, my dog found a siren and he likes to howl at it.
Now,
so he was also in Hufflepuff.
Do we want to... Okay, so Hufflepuff. Do we want to, like, speculate on who we would want to play Newt Scamander?
Briefly, it was mentioned as a rumor that, what was it, Dr. 11...
Matt Smith was
going to be playing him.
I wouldn't mind that. I think he would probably be pretty good as Newt Scamander. I would like to see maybe someone newer from the... Okay, so the picture Josh just showed me shows him as an older guy. But it takes place in the 20s, and you said he's
right. He's probably going to be.
He'll be in his 30s.
Yeah, like early 30s.
So yeah, I could see Matt Smith pulling it off.
I think Matt Smith could do it.
I think he has the range for it.
I think he would too. I mean, just watching a few episodes of Doctor Who that he's been in,
right?
He could pull off that lovable kind of guy who loves just animals.
Yeah,
like
me,
a very small Hagrid.
Lovable.
Yeah. Oh right. Sorry, I am unlovable.
Yeah, XR.
Let's see. He most likely took care of magical creatures as an elective in his 3rd year. I feel like that's just basic deductive reasoning.
Yes.
No, he didn't.
He joined the Ministry of Magic.
Really?
After graduating from Hogwarts, he joined the Ministry and worked for the Department for the Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures.
There was a forward that involved that in the book.
He spent 2 years in the Office for House Elf Relocation before transferring to the Beast Division, where his extensive knowledge of magical creatures led to a rapid series of promotions. And fun fact... one of his accomplishments that was listed on another website was that he was actually the one who created the registry for lycanthropes.
So he had his hand dipped into the whole werewolf.
Right. Well, I'm thinking that the movie will either take that in a way where either he's going to be a werewolf at some point, or some werewolf-related crisis causes him to invent the registry.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that he's not gonna be a werewolf in the movie because they probably mentioned that somewhere on the wiki or somewhere in his backstory.
I was thinking like maybe a close friend who was.
I was gonna think so too. Maybe something along the lines of where,
or even like a younger sibling or something.
Yeah,
maybe
never mentioned in the book.
Maybe that, or on his travels, he meets a companion or something and. They get attacked by a werewolf.
I wonder if he originally wrote the book that was later titled Wanderings with Werewolves.
Ooh.
As if I didn't want to kill Lockhart enough already.
Yeah, right?
Well, he certainly got his comeuppance, so...
Yeah.
Fair.
But no, I think, I would speculate they would go along the lines of someone close to him got attacked by a
Scamander is
werewolf.
now my favorite wizard in the entire world.
Why?
Saw this coming.
He traveled to 100 countries across 5 continents researching for his book, which is probably when this is going to take place.
Yes.
Yeah.
He learned about their abilities, gained their trust, and occasionally beat them with his traveling kettle if they got too dangerous.
I remember that.
That officially makes him...
Very interesting.
That officially makes him
We're
the
gonna
best
end
wizard.
up with
made
like
out
that Twisted
Magic.
cartoon, the cartoon Tangled.
Yeah,
with the frying pan.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, I'm thinking that either it's just a kettle that he travels with, or literally he has it enchanted so that it follows him.
That would be
cool.
awesome.
I feel like that'd be
or
a
he
great...
has a wand in the kettle.
Or all of the above. I mean,
Yeah, maybe. Who
Like
knows?
I feel like that could be a great opportunity for a little bit of comic relief for like if they gave it like a like
It's
if
gotta
y'all
have some comic relief.
well no but like if you remember
you said he traveled across. Go ahead. I'll come back
I was
to
just
this.
saying if you remember Beauty and the Beast, there's one of the enchanted things is a footrest.
Like a dog. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, it's got like the personality of a dog. I'm thinking if they did that for his traveling kettle, that would just be
That'd be
comic
awesome.
gold.
And then you would then something would happen that you would never thought would happen, and you are suddenly attached to a lovable, cute kettle.
Yeah,
And
that hasn't happened since, ironically, Beauty and the Beast. With
Probably not.
Chip. But
He was a cup, not a kettle.
I would
Fair.
I would say I was more attached to the footstool than Chip because Chip was a kid, and
Honestly,
I hate kids, but
the candlestick.
Lumiere.
oh,
Yeah.
dude, he was awesome.
Yeah.
but so you said he traveled across 5 continents.
Yeah, 100 countries across 5 continents.
I imagine. Here's how I see it because I think it was said that it's going to be it's going to be a film series, which would mean that
weird.
there's more.
That'd be
So
awesome.
maybe each movie takes place on
On
a
a
different
continent?
continent.
Yeah. Or what I was thinking until about when you said that would be that they have him do a couple of like a montage of him in a couple different countries
Yeah.
researching, and then they plop him down in New York.
That would be cool. That would definitely work. Show how he ends up in New York. But that's the thing. Like New York, 1920s. It's big. It's booming. Skyscrapers are starting to be built.
Everybody's hating on the Irish.
Everyone's hating on the Irish. How like this?
What brings them there?
It doesn't. Well, yeah. What brings them there? It doesn't seem like it's quite the setting.
Maybe there's like some outbreak of an indigenous magical creature, and he's helped help deal with it or something.
I wonder
if you also think about it though. In the Harry Potter series, you look at the time frame of that. J.K. Rowling did not really invest in the politics of the time, and so I don't see her doing that with this movie. And we're not going to see all that Irish hate. We're not going to see that's really kind of like this jazz revolution.
I just use it as
is happening.
Maybe the music is like background music.
Yeah,
but we won't really see a lot of what is going on at the time.
if they go film noir style with this will be my favorite movie of all time.
Magic noir.
Yes. No, but
But you know, you're kind of right, because she never really hints in the books and the movies. You don't really have that idea that, you know, it takes place in the early 90s actually, not modern day where you think
right.
Yeah, it's
pretty
generic.
But at the same time, you can only do so much without introducing the politics, because it's one character. I mean, primary character. It's got to be more like a documentary style.
He's traveling the world. Like, you're gonna get a feel for the time. Not to mention, you're like this. Like, you can be a little more ambiguous with, like clothing style with the Harry Potter movies, because I mean, 90s style, and now, I mean, it's still kind of there.
Right.
You don't see anybody dressing like they're still in the 20s. So like that so that will definitely come back, and you'll definitely see.
Oh yeah, well, you'll see
you'll see something, but there won't be that much. There won't be that focused.
Yeah, it's not going to be focused on like swinging jazz and all that.
Okay, so what are your two biggest? I'm going to go with two biggest questions / hopes for this movie.
Who do we see as a returning character? Because there's definitely, like, you're introduced to enough older people in the Harry Potter movies and books that, like, you know, they lived in the 20s. Albus Dumbledore's alive in this time.
Right.
So I'm expecting that not.
So is Grindelwald.
I'm not expecting a huge. I would expect Dumbledore more, because Grindelwald. I don't know.
I thought it was an interesting thing that might be brought up.
Especially considering, at least the way I see it, Grindelwald wasn't an extremely major player in the original book series.
Mm-hmm. No,
so that makes it more likely that they'd involve him.
Yeah, I think if they do, I think they'll do it peripherally.
Okay, yeah.
Like, they mentioned something about Grindelwald.
They might. I don't think we're gonna see Grindelwald come to.
No, I just thought it was. I just thought it was an interesting thing that helps frame the time for a lot of Harry Potter fans.
I see Albus Dumbledore making maybe not a huge appearance, but definitely a cameo. Where, because he came up with the 12 uses of dragon blood. So, and he's traveled the world. He's been a big factor in the wizarding world. So you can't imagine that maybe Dumbledore, you know, runs into Newt and they talk about magical beasts, or maybe Newt somehow helps Dumbledore in fighting a beast he finds.
Well, maybe they team up for the story of it.
Any idea when Dumbledore went to school?
Oh my gosh, how old was Dumbledore even?
That's what I'm looking up.
I'm not sure, but
he was born in 1881.
So he's definitely he would definitely be out of school by then. And on his own, you know, Dumbledore seems like that guy who would take that year off before pursuing anything and travel the world.
Yeah.
And so I could definitely see he's not going to be a big factor, but you're gonna see. I think you'll see a cameo of Dumbledore.
Yeah, he's too popular of a character.
Yeah,
he's too big
of a character. That also, though, I'd like to branch off of that a bit, in that I can see characters reappearing, but there is one concern that I have, and that is this movie cannot lean on the past glories of
that's
previous
true.
Harry films. Because I've seen a couple films and TV shows
that try to do
that lean on their past glories,
like
especially Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now.
Yeah.
They're leaning way too much on past glory.
Yeah, they're trying to milk the Avengers for all it's worth.
Also, Angel, the spinoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they brought Spike back for or throughout the series, and kind of doing that same thing where it's like, hey, you may not be interested in the show right now, but we have someone coming back who was pivotal in the other show again.
There are ways to allude, but you really cannot lean on past glories.
Well, in regards with, there's a huge difference between leaning on past glories like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and with keeping it in the same universe like Buffy did with Spike.
I just feel like the big reason I feel like Dumbledore's going to make a return is because Rowling has been quoted in an interview when asked what character are you going to miss the most and what character would you want to meet. She says Dumbledore repeatedly. Dumbledore is her favorite character of all time,
and she's the one writing the script.
She's writing the screenplay, and also Josh. I'm just going to bring it up right now. Josh, you found something on the wiki?
I did. I was looking up other facts about Newt, and one of them is. It's a header for his time as headmaster of Hogwarts. Doesn't say much about it, but it says that all it says, in fact, is that at some point in his life, Scamander was appointed as headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the school from which he studied.
So I'm gonna go ahead and assume the guy's British, going back to like.
Well, he went to Hufflepuff. He was in Hufflepuff.
Yeah. But I mean, and so it doesn't say when he was, but. Dumbledore was teaching at Hogwarts before he became headmaster.
Yeah,
so they might be coworkers.
They might be coworkers. They could have been old pals that went to the pub or something after a long day. I mean, it's. I don't see especially with that coming into play. I don't see how Dumbledore can't make a cameo.
Right,
it's going to be hard. It's probably hard to avoid if you, especially because that emphasis about keeping the same universe, like was mentioned.
Yeah,
I wonder if Tom will.
Tom Riddle might. But I don't think if he's just gonna be mentioned. You won't see a physical appearance.
Right.
But you will. I think you'll see.
But then I think that might be getting into the leaning on past glories.
That's true.
Well, I think making a throwaway mention of him is one thing. I think bringing him in and making him part of the story would be more leaning on.
No. I see more as the making the passive mentions being the thing that that they'd end up trying to use as crutches when you are making passive references. That those are the crutches.
They're good, but they're going to.
If they started out with Dumbledore looking up at, this is where the headmaster's portraits goes. He's like, one day that's leaning way too much.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like making a passive mention of Tom as like. They're at the school, and he was just talking to a teacher there, and then he leaves, and the teacher calls him Tom. I feel like that's more just keeping it in the same universe.
Maybe Tom had. Well, no, because Professor Dippet was headmaster at Hogwarts, so I wouldn't say maybe Tom gets sent to like the headmaster's office, but maybe he's like maybe it starts off with Newt's talking to a student, and as he leaves, he's like, "All right, have a good day, Tom."
Yeah, I think it should be one of those, especially considering it's a reference that might be overlooked if you don't really pay much attention to it.
It's in we all know it's going to be in the Harry Potter world, but there's gonna be like, especially when you're making a spin-off like this,
you have to make connections.
You have to make connections.
But
not necessarily leaning on them, but I think it's going to be small connections like that that'll snap you back in reality. Like, oh my god, this is the Harry Potter world, and like you're not going to want to.
I feel like
it's a dangerous game.
It is.
Well, yeah, as we mentioned, it's a very fine line, but I feel like it's sloppy to not have any connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody want to see any other characters return?
God, there's a whole host of characters I would love to see return.
Mm-hmm.
What I could easily see returning is Hagrid. As a segue into the story,
possibly.
He's handing someone a copy of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and so on and so forth. They go and they look it up, or maybe Luna because she marries what is it?
Rolf Scamander. It's Newt's grandson. How I saw it happening and folding out, and them breaking the stories. It starts with present day Luna and Rolf, and maybe they're visiting Newt, but this can't happen now because I found out he dies before the Battle of Hogwarts, so
it's
not
going to be visited.
Yeah, he's not going to be visited, but somehow it's her. It starts off with her and Rolf talking, and the whole story. What the whole story is the flashback. It's someone telling Newt's story for us.
I could definitely see that happening, but what I might even offer as an alternative, James Potter.
Oh.
How so?
I don't know.
That's a little out
I don't know.
left.
Maybe James got thrown into detention or something. And
I think
that
that's
would be-
too left field. That's
It's
coming
all- I think
right.
it's also a little bit late.
Field, but
I think it's a little bit late in the timeline.
I could see Lupin. Well, I could see Lupin because Lupin's a werewolf. He's reading up on the creation of the Werewolf Registration Act. Gets more into learning about Newt, the creator of it.
Yeah.
And notice his Care of Magical Creatures classes almost all involve magical creatures.
Yeah.
His DA class.
Yeah.
But I imagine
So-
that James Potter, he got in a lot of trouble. He could get thrown into detention.
Now, which James Potter are you talking about? Are you talking about Harry's dad or Harry's son?
Yes.
Because there's technically two James Potters in this universe.
Oh, geez.
Harry's dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he just-
And so, like, Harry's dad, James Potter, gets attention, has to go and sit with this old ass dude
Yeah.
that I guess wrote some Care of Magical Creatures or something, and sit in on his boring ass lecture, but then end up having an awesome time with flashbacks.
I think I think that right there is going to the whole leaning on a crutch thing, because you hear James Potter, you're gonna think Harry, and you're using a derivative of the main character
Yeah, I guess.
to start this off, which is why I like the thought of it having Luna, because you're bringing in someone who was an important character, but not like
Not main.
not a main character, not
Right.
and not someone who's like when you hear Harry Potter, you're gonna think of the Golden Trio. You're gonna think of a handful of teachers before you even get to Luna.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna bring a less important character in. I think that's a good way to hold it back or to connect it, because you're not leaning on Luna, but that's how you're bridging the universes.
See, what I was thinking originally was that if it was going to bring her in, it'd be at the very end, as opposed to the beginning.
Kind of like doing an epilogue of, like, at Scamander's grave or something.
Yeah.
And-
Well, what I could see is, because they have twins, Rolf
Right.
and Luna, is a way of telling them a bedtime story.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
Or maybe
like,
one of the twins asks
And this
about
is
it.
what your
That's true.
grandpappy did
They
when
got-
he was young.
They have a
And he had
restless.
an
They're
awesome-
not ancient when they have kids.
And he had an awesome
Arthritis.
traveling kettle.
They have a restless, like her kids have a restless night, and like how are you gonna put your kids to sleep by telling them a story? And why not tell them something great like that? I think that would be a good segue to it.
I
Or
did all these awesome adventures, but then you had to come along.
no, this is like, okay, I could see Lupin just like, for example,
Merlin,
we see
yeah.
like, young Remus like looking through books and stuff. We don't know it's him yet. Someone calls, like, you can barely hear, but it's like, hey, come on, Remus, or something. He says, just a second. He's looking through, and you don't actually learn that it's Lupin until like the end of the movie. I think that could be one way of doing it. I just, because of Scamander's connection to the werewolves, I could just really easily see
That.
or
something like that.
Lupin being the one brought in, because it's just an easy connection to make. Like, Lupin's young Lupin is researching why does he have to get registered? Who created this? Whose idea was it? I feel like those are very reasonable ways that don't lean too much on the previous glories of the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
But I still think that, and heck, you could have Weasleys and Potters, probably not any Grangers. 'cause-
No.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't see any Grangers. Yeah,
I don't think so. Since it kind of ends at Hermione.
well, no, it starts at Hermione.
And ends.
Yeah.
Because she got married. Different.
And-
than
Oh
us
yeah,
guys.
she
Hermione
changed her
was-
name.
Having a brother, the Granger
so
line ends with her
you
death.
could see, I could see them, if they play it right, we could see some kind of Weasleys and Potters, Weasleys.
That's
and or a
something
Potter.
that only time's
at
gonna
the
have to tell,
school.
because that'd be really difficult and tricky and take a lot more time than we have in this podcast to plan out how it would do it.
Yeah.
Are you talking? Wait. So, what was the whole basis of it?
He could see Weasleys and Potters and such being the cameo,
And-
the returning
yeah.
cameos.
No, it's leaning. That's going to leaning too much on it. You're using two of the main characters.
Well, families. at the very
Families.
least.
Well, and so what I mean by leaning on it is like using passive references, like at intermittent areas to try and get the audience to be like, oh yeah, I remember the main
audience
actual story.
interested in, like,
But just with like little teeny tiny passive remarks. But if like
It's
this
just
is
like
a
a
Weasley,
one-shot
this
thing.
Weasley is going to be in this movie for a duration of this movie. that you're going to get invested in this character that you're not that familiar with. And so instead of leaning on past glories, you're investing.
I feel like if they would do that, they wouldn't use a member of the Golden Trio's family just because that's just too much. That's just, instead of walking a fine line, you're walking a strand of thread. I feel like if they did it, they would use one of the Black family. Well, because the Black family is extensive, we only really know 2.5. I say half because we were. Andromeda was there, but she wasn't at the same time.
Yeah.
But Sirius and Bellatrix are the only ones we really knew from the family Black.
I really just can't see, like, I'm really stuck on the whole, this staying within this Scamander family. And not branching out. Like, you're not, if anything, the only name, the two biggest names you're going to hear out of this that come from the original series, I think it's going to be Dumbledore and Luna. Like, I just can't picture it being anything other than those two, and then, because I feel like it's just too much of a stretch to bring someone out.
Because of reasons that I mentioned to you guys earlier, I'd also throw my money on young Lupin making an appearance.
I think that's possible, but I feel like if they do it like that, where they bring Lupin in, and it's Lupin getting the story and learning about it, mm-hmm. It's gonna be werewolf oriented. It's gonna be werewolf heavy, and that's not what it's about.
That we know of. For example, something had to happen for Scamander to create the werewolf registry. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what happens.
Yeah,
some sort of lycanthropic.
Maybe that'll be like the
at this point, it's who knows. I'm putting equal money on. I'm going to put my money mostly on Dumbledore, and then probably Luna, and then Lupin.
Yeah,
in that order.
I would not put any money on a Weasley or a Potter making a return or being even mentioned.
Well, because I guess my main attachment to Harry's parents is we got some ghostly appearance. We saw him in the mirror. Mm-hmm. We got maybe a little bit of a flashback, but there is so much character there that can be invested in.
There is, and I think if you're going to see any kind of return of his parents, or of the Marauders, anything, you're going to get it in a Marauders-oriented prequel where it's based on those four guys.
Quick poll. Who would watch a series of movies based on the Marauders?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would watch anything based in the Harry Potter universe, okay?
Just making sure.
I'm actually surprised that Rowling went this route where...
A Day in the Ministry of Magic.
If she's gonna...
I would watch.
And today I filed papers with my wand. The next day...
I'm actually surprised this is the route that Rowling went to... Yeah. Everyone, the thing that everyone wants is a Marauders prequel where it's focused on those four characters.
Just a prequel, hell.
Well, a prequel to the story, the main story.
Yeah.
But, so just a series of films on that. I'm really surprised of all the things she goes off of is Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, that was
But you have to realize the genius of Rowling. If she's gonna pull it from something ambiguous like this, it's gonna be big. She's put a lot of thought into it. She's put a lot of research and detail.
The thing is, I'm not really that surprised because from the first book. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but that book is one of the definite things I remember, and it's also one of 3 books that were sold, of the spin-off books that were sold.
Yeah. Tales of Beetle the Bard, Quidditch Through the Ages, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
Which
I don't think there's been any other spin-off books besides those 3.
Well, wait, what was the actual the book that was alive?
Oh, that was the Monster Book of Monsters.
Yeah.
Do not come into my house and quiz me on Care Magical Creatures.
So I have a question.
Yes.
This will be kind of a topic change, so if you have anything else to say on this...
I have a question to ask you, but that can wait.
Alright. So what creatures would you be excited to see recorded specifically?
I'll be right back.
2.
No. You are, because we have a time limit on this, okay? And it's not forever.
That's why I said 2 down before anyone else says it. I want to see a dragon. Want to see some old dragon.
I want to see something that hasn't been brought up that we haven't seen.
I want to see a demiguise and a Lethifold.
I want to see a Hinky Punk and something else.
Did we see a leprechaun in any of the movies?
I don't think. Can you put that down in a Fantastic Beasts?
Yeah.
It's in the book.
Oh, it is. Okay.
And although Leprechaun,
Leprechaun Gold.
But the leprechauns were in it. The Weasleys got Leprechaun Gold because the leprechauns at the Quidditch match gave it to him.
I would want to see a Hinky Punk and a Red Cap.
But leprechauns would make a lot of sense because of all the hate going on. It would bring in the politics of the time with all the hate on the Irish immigrants.
It'd be a way to bring in the politics, but use it in a magical state.
Right. It would make it so that the world would feel a little more fluid.
I still don't think they would.
Well,
Oh, I
It's too soon to see. It's too soon to tell.
he's right, but
Yeah.
let's see. For me, it's probably
The only person that knows how this is going and who's in it, who's making their cameos, and all this
That
is
would be
Rowling.
Well,
It's
we
not-
need to go to her house and like.
Are you going to see us
subliminal
kidnapping a major...
message- No,
Okay.
no kidnapping. We're going to subliminally
Why
transfer this podcast to her, and so she's gonna be the next day. She's gonna sit down, be going to write it, and she's like, "No, I did all this wrong. We need a cameo appearance, and we're going to completely alter the complete direction of this."
and therefore the course of history.
But here's the thing: she's writing the screenplay for it. It's got to get greenlit. It's got to have its edits. It's got to be redone. We're not even gonna see a trailer of this movie.
so we go to the producers.
We're not even gonna see a trailer of this movie for probably another 3 years.
Right? Yeah.
Easily.
I know. This feels like
frustrating because
punishment for something. What did we do
we
wrong?
just got hit with a blast of something so great and so awesome, but what people don't realize is how long you're gonna have to wait for it to come to fruition.
And now we play the waiting game.
And I am not wanting to play this
But
movie.
anyway,
I
so-
want it now.
So
you said you wanted to see a Hinky Punk in a red cap. Why?
It's just I want to. I'd like to see more, like trick, or more creatures based on like
intellect.
and tricking people rather than like your typical beast that you would find,
Which is like muscle and claw and tooth.
Yeah.
I have like 4. I have 4 creatures.
Two.
It's really 2. And
Yeah.
it's only like 3
Well,
and like.
let him use 4.
Fine.
Okay. Well, no. Okay. 1 because I
You're on a timer though. If you go too long with your first 2, you're getting cut off.
Alright, just because I like the ideas I mentioned before, I'd like to see werewolves in it because I'd like to see how it handles.
Yes.
I'm with Jake on the Hinky Punk, but I'd prefer to see a Will-O-Wisp in the same thing.
Ooh.
I'd like to see a Bow-Truckle because those things live in wandwood trees.
I'd actually like to see a blast-ended Scroot.
How he
Since
handles
we-
it.
Since we never
Yeah,
saw
we've
one.
never
in the
seen
fourth-
one, yeah.
And the last one is a Kappa. Because
Oh, yeah.
that is something you have to be able to trick. Because
Yeah.
that's the thing, it pours all the water out of its head. And
Gotta have a returning Bogart.
oh yeah,
The
but like,
Bogart's gotta
but, like I can see him dealing with like a Will-O-Wisp. Like it thinks it's leading him away, and he just goes nope, puts it in a bottle. But just like and things like that, I feel like that would be really cool to watch.
Yeah.
There, how'd I do on time?
Pretty good.
For mine, Demiguise is a gorilla-like creature in the Far East, which they make invisibility cloaks out of its fur.
Right.
Okay.
So I'd just be kind of like to see how he finds them and, how he would deal with all that. Leatherfold, I just say, because it's my favorite creature in the book.
That scares me.
It's basically, it looks like a living cloak that suffocates people and eats them. And
It
just
scares me that that's his favorite.
and just about the only
I have a new favorite.
just about the only known deterrent is a Patronus, kind of like the Dementors.
I just realized that could have been the perfect segue into the whole theory conversation we had that long ago.
Damn it.
before the
Technically,
podcast.
a Dementor is a magical creature.
Okay, we have this theory. We're gonna have to do a separate podcast just on that.
We will, but we'll tease you with the theory that we have.
Oh, it's is it the one with the Horcruxes?
We were going with the Lethifold and how Lethifold becomes
Right.
Yeah.
I don't remember all of it, but I do remember that because this was a while ago. Part of it was okay, I don't remember all of it. What is it? Yeah.
It was like, okay, since the Dementors always look like they have just like these black cloaks draped over them, we figured that it was like wasn't it
An
Inferi?
Inferi covered by a Lethifold.
So it was some.
No,
This was. Keep in mind, this was like 6 months ago. We had this
It was
discussion.
really hard. It's really hard to remember. It was something to do with the fact that a Lethifold is
repelled by a Patronus charm.
It's repelled by Patronus charm, so somehow it's somehow connected to a Dementor,
Right,
And
or
what
at
we
least
thought-
depression.
What we thought it was someone who who destroyed their body through doing a Horcrux wrong, and a
Lethifold found them?
had consumed them, and that's
Okay.
that's how Dementors are formed.
All right, because I remembered the Horcrux part with the Dementors.
Right.
But
Yes.
So that's our theory on that. But back to Fantastic Beasts.
That was tough bringing that back up. Okay.
yeah.
That was deep in the memory there.
Yeah.
And my memory
I'm
sucks.
proud
Dig it
of
up,
that
dig it
theory.
up.
I am proud of that
I'll
theory,
dig it.
though.
I
because
think
I
it's a
used the progenitor of
sound
that one.
theory. I think it's a really good sound
Anyway,
theory.
back to Fantastic Beasts. Matthew, what are the two things you are hoping for the most in this movie?
Really, I want to get a glimpse of the American Wizarding Society. Just see how it's different from Britain's.
I would love to see an American wizarding
Well,
school.
because he works for the Ministry of Magic, and the key is he was commissioned to write this book while he worked for the Ministry.
Yeah.
There's got to be some magical politics in there.
I feel there'll be magical politics. I feel like we'll see an American wizarding school purely for the fact that if he's looking for something,
you're gonna go to
some magical creature indigenous to America.
You'd want
he's
to go
gonna
to
go.
their
Yeah, he's gonna
magical
go to the American magical creatures teacher and
talk to him.
yeah, get your information from there.
Yeah, what sort of thing is indigenous to this
What the
area?
hell is so funny?
Oh, cowboys with wands.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Just imagine.
No, I think that
Draw,
would ruin,
Avada
What?
I think that would ruin both things for me.
Really? I feel like that would be
An
awesome.
American wizard cowboy.
No, think about it.
Oh,
'Cause, you know, 'cause
Midwestern.
An American wizard at the time, they'd still have to blend in.
Right,
So they'd still for duels with other wizards, they'd use their wands.
but you're in New York.
No. This is a general thing.
Okay.
But for duels with Muggles, they'd still be using the pistols.
Yeah, but you're not gonna whip it out of a holster.
A wand? No, of course not.
Well, assuming that they don't have specially constructed wand holsters, that's beside the point.
We are talking about a whole nother country here.
A whole other society spanning
true.
several countries.
But yeah. But anyway, so your things are. What were the things you were looking for again? I'm blanking.
Let the fold and demi guys.
No, not the
Wait,
creatures.
no, sorry.
So something along
Something I'm excited for. The society.
hoping for, yeah.
The society, like I mentioned, and I'm not really sure, except for the fact that in the books we get almost no glimpse of America in general. So,
Yeah.
like, some of the creatures that are indigenous to it would be interesting too.
Connor, what about you?
Like I've already said, cameos from some of the parents from the Golden. And
Well, if it's set in the 20s, probably more older than just parents.
Yeah.
There is a chance of seeing an ancestor of Potter. I can't remember who it was. It started with a G, but it was
James
it was
instead of James.
No. Shut up. Was it one of the Peverells? Is that what you're thinking? No, because that'd be way
it's
older.
an actual Potter last name. And
Oh, really?
I'm guessing it would be Harry's great grandpa or something like that.
Huh.
It was a post I saw on Tumblr. They came up with a bunch of people that could make an appearance.
Oh, cool.
And like they mentioned Gaunts and Potters, and like they
The
mentioned
Gaunts, maybe.
They mentioned a Weasley. Like there is a possibility that he might run into an ancestor of Harry or Ron.
I don't think it'll be Harry.
I don't think it'll be Harry, but it's possible.
That's too much hero for one family.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not even to say that like, oh, this guy helps Newt.
Maybe
Right.
maybe just like at an academic conference or something.
Maybe he just runs into him randomly at like a pub or something, and it's just,
And someone says Mr. Potter, and he turns on yes with that
Yes.
smug little shit grin on his face.
It's kind of like the references in X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
with Wolverine.
It was Wolverine. So we got our little taste of Wolverine, and then at the end of the movie, when Xavier is sitting in his wheelchair, he's like, I might go bald, I might start a school.
Yeah.
That is that little quick quip.
Yeah.
But it is at the end. And so you get that warm and fuzzy feeling with the ending.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a brutal ending to that movie. Like you could that was hard to walk out of. If that comic relief wasn't in there at the end, it would have been hard pressed to walk out of that movie happy.
I don't know. I was kind of happy, but then again,
You should like seeing people get shot.
Just that look of I got shot in the back.
Back to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So
And so besides the
cameos.
besides the cameos, I really got that cowboy stuck in my head.
What about Beastwise? Have you mentioned Beastwise?
I mean, dragons, leprechauns, dementors.
Still went faster than you, bro.
Yeah.
Dragons, leprechauns, and dementors.
Well, mine were pretty
something-
obscure.
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm very traditional with my beasts. And
That's why
I really want to see, since supposedly this movie will be taking place in America, I really want to see American wizardry.
I can't imagine it's much different.
Well, no, I'm thinking
Think about the time. You have a lot of people immigrating. You're not gonna hear American accents. You're gonna hear
Irish were immigrating.
Well, then again,
Druids!
you've also got a bunch of like Chinese people that are immigrating at the same time and stuff like that. So
I think you might see a huge culture clash, but you're not gonna see
I want to see a wizarding culture class.
You might. Like I said, this is a time where a lot of people are immigrating towards to America. So you're going to probably get a lot of European accents still and influence.
But the thing is, there was still American culture at the time.
There was, but I don't think it's going to be that big.
It wasn't nearly as prevalent as it is today.
No, I'm just saying it'd be nice to see a little bit of it.
I would like to see some wizard and jazz.
I would like to hear an American wizard, that's for sure, with an actual.
Dude, I just need to see an American wizard jazz musician who enchants his instruments to play themselves.
And
that would be awesome.
His conductor wand is just
boom.
Yeah,
that would be sick.
That would happen.
He's going and conducting it with his wand, and then he just puts
someone calls
his hands out, and his wand is still there.
Because prohibition's happening at this time, so you might run into a
water into wine.
Bro, Chicago. Luciano was in New York.
You might run into a wizarding speakeasy.
Dude, but the boss of bosses, Luciano, who was called Lucky Luciano because he could survive a one-way ride.
Yeah.
He would have been ruling New York at the time. As a mob boss.
Unless they throw him in the magical society, he's probably not going to make much.
I think we can completely throw out the idea that we're going to see mob gangsters.
I don't think completely, but I think
maybe a reference here
because the mob had such an iron grip on New York at the time.
Yeah,
I don't think it's completely out the window, but I don't think it's likely.
We're gonna have this tiny little man that's just writing a book go to get beaten up by the mob, but he's gonna end up messing them up with magic and then erasing their memories.
More along the lines of there are illegal exotic animal smugglers.
That's true.
Or there could just be a magical counterpart.
I just like the idea of how.
I just think Luciano needs to be a wizard.
That would explain a lot.
I just like the idea of a wizard speakeasy, because think of how wizards can Grimwald,
boom,
number 12 Grimwald Palace, and how it's just separated.
What speakeasy? There was no speakeasy here.
You could completely hide a giant one with the wizard.
You could hide a casino,
and you could I could just picture Newt going into one, and there's the orchestra being conducted by a wizard, where it's just no one's playing it, no one's playing instruments, and no one's
there we go.
Conductor's wand.
He also needs to run into a Greek chappie at a speakeasy. No,
he doesn't.
Maybe he goes to a party at Jay Gatsby's.
Oh dear!
Reference for a reference. I like it.
Yeah.
But at least mine was a Harry Potter reference.
What? Enlighten us.
The Greek chap that sold Hagrid Norbert.
Yeah.
I doubt he'd still be alive.
No.
It was a joke.
It was a joke based on an analog. But as for me, the two things that I'm probably most excited for, besides all of the myriad of magical creatures, one,
we're gonna have a huge CGI budget.
Oh my god, we are.
Yeah, I would love to see if Baz Luhrmann helped produce it, and because you would see it would be like Great Gatsby but wizard stuff.
No, we need
CGI wise.
We need the animators and editors from The Great Gatsby and Avatar working together.
No.
Yes.
No.
Why not? Why not?
But because reasons. That's why.
It's terrible shit reasons. Because Avatar's an overrated piece of shit.
Newt's commander's not blue. That's
Who
why.
said it needs to be blue?
Because Avatar. I don't trust anything that's touched Avatar.
Oh my god.
Except for Sigourney Weaver. But regardless, the two things I'm most excited for are one. Now I can't get the mobster thing out of my head, and I want that to happen. I was actually gonna say the U.S. equivalent of the Ministry of Magic, but I think I'm gonna say.
What would you call that? I want to be a ministry.
It might be. It might be the
Cabinet of Wizardry.
Well, no, but because the Ministry of Magic is just people who minister to people about magic.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say the Ministry of Magic of England. So it might just be a worldwide government
with chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the American chapter.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
That's a possible, or maybe it is a foreign embassy thing. Or
I just see it as I just had the thought because you have a minister, you have the Prime Minister of England,
right.
And you have the Minister of Magic. So I could see something along the lines of the president of the American Wizardry.
The Magical Republic of the Americas. I mean,
sure, maybe I don't know. Like I said, nobody knows what we're gonna see or what to expect. So
the other thing is, I want to see whether or not they're gonna dip into Native American myth.
I hope
because think about it. He'd go to America to find indigenous creatures indigenous to America. Mm-hmm. So he'd start with Native American myths and then work on figuring out which ones still existed today. I just want
I would like to see him see something along the lines of a Sasquatch.
I was thinking
that'd
be
awesome.
Or maybe throw a reference in as a joke.
Maybe
or like Thunderbird.
I would love to see a Thunderbird.
I just need to see him ride a Thunderbird. But anyway, that or if I hope, I don't think it's likely, but I really do hope that the mobster thing is going to happen because that's two genres that I desperately love. Like I said, I don't think it's likely, but I hope to have it
it would be cool to see as
right. Or even just as like a throwaway thing, like animal smugglers.
I mean,
and
you
things
never know with Rowling, and you never know what she's gonna throw in. And I bet I'm sure the screen or what she's writing is airtight, and only she knows what's going on. Like I'm sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
it'll disintegrate as soon as anyone pulls the bottle off before it's time.
But yeah,
watch your hands, people.
I'm really looking forward to the information coming out because, like, as far as I know, all we know about it.
I'm really looking forward to the movie.
The only information that's been released is who's the main character, what it's about, and where it's going to be set.
I'm going to Fandango tickets right now.
For like 3 years in the future?
Yes.
You're going to die.
Yeah. I'm
camping out 3 years before.
So we do that and just have a podcast that's just like with the before
This
the
will
movie.
definitely not be our last podcast on this.
Oh,
once I'm sure once new developments and updates come out about this,
guys,
we're gonna have another podcast with the update.
We're gonna make a code.
I think
and
I think maybe don't quote me on this, but minutes after the trailer is released, we may have a podcast. Jake, get the hell down here.
We'll probably watch it a couple times.
We're each gonna get like a single cheap phone for each of us. We're gonna have a code, and so then whenever any of us find something out, we can use that phone. Call us
or
Pottermore or something.
And then the day it's released,
and then we all like converge on one location for a Pottercast.
The day it's released, we just send a text to all of them saying it's time,
and then all the people
assemble,
and then all the people who've ever been on a Pottercast come.
Oh God!
And for the record, I already said that like 3 times.
We might have a Pottercast where we have a shit ton of people on it.
It sounds kind of like we're running out of steam.
A little bit.
I could talk about Fantastic Beasts and where to find them for hours.
I'm sure,
but I don't think people want to hear me talk about it for hours, particularly Jake and Matthew.
I wonder if they're going to put in the for previously mentioned forward, like it was about the what defines a beast, like maybe have how he came up with that or how that was come up with as just like a
maybe one of the summits that the ogres attended.
Well, maybe I mean, like it sounds like he had a pretty good job in the ministry, and he had a good job. He had a good run at Hogwarts. Maybe I really want to see what caused him to be like, you know what, I'm gonna, instead of doing this, I'm gonna go out and write a book, and I'm gonna go travel the world, write a book, and on all this stuff.
That'd be cool.
I wonder if Krakens exist in the Harry Potter universe.
Go buy a book.
I don't think they're in Fantastic Beasts.
Release
No,
the
they're not.
Kraken!
But no textbook can be considered completely comprehensive.
True.
So it was just kind of an idle.
It's possible.
I wonder.
Yeah. Anyone else
yeah.
have any wild fantasies that they want to see in this movie?
Like I said, I think it'd be cool to see something along the lines of a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Hermione Granger.
God, get the
Seriously?
mom thing out of my head. All I can see
as
is
much
like.
as I'd love to see Hermione and Emma Watson make a comeback, I know it's not going to happen, so I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Fair. Okay.
I'm
One of those.
looking forward to seeing what she's going to wear to that premiere because the last couple times, whew.
Yeah.
Anyway,
just wild. Probably completely off base, but I mean, who knows? I would love to see like a showdown between magical law enforcement and magical mafia.
That'd be. Yeah.
Maybe
combination Tommy gun and wand
because
throw.
I imagine if you want to go that way, I'm gonna go along the lines and say it's something. It'll be a part of Newt migrating to America because I mean I know he's not. I'm sure he'll travel there, but like he's gonna have to like get used to it because it's gonna be completely different and stuff. And so him getting accustomed to it, I'm sure that'll be part of the whole. Like, montage of him coming to America, culture shock, all that.
Okay, just saying right now, they need to shell out the money for a Neil Diamond song.
Coming to America.
They really do.
Yes, I agree.
Because that would just be awesome.
It's my favorite Neil Diamond song, too.
Oh my god.
It would be awesome and you know it.
It'd be alright.
No, just like a montage of him preparing and leaving and then arriving with Coming to America. Yes.
Maybe a little bit of the boat ride.
Yes.
We'll see.
Him Captain Morganing off the end of it.
Oh, now you're just getting ridiculous.
I know. But also,
And
sorry.
Emma Watson
One more
can
thing
come
that I'm
up
wildly
and hug
excited
him.
for, especially if they go the route we've mentioned, the kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope. I don't think they will, but I hope that I hope it's in the movie because it's something that could easily be cut with no real loss.
Yes.
But I hope they put it in, and I hope that they utilize it in the way that we've mentioned, like the footrest from Beauty and the
That
Beast.
is one of those things that we would need to put into her head if we took Conrad's suggestion.
Yeah. All right, so
I think that's gonna wrap it up for now. I mean,
we have
it's
to go
hard.
catch our wild Conrad. He got loose.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Not like-
Is this like the shortest one yet?
It's a shorter one. I think our shortest one's probably about 40. I think it's like 42 minutes or something.
I don't know.
like
The
that.
first podcast I was part of was like 3 hours.
Yeah, they tend to run long, but it's hard for this to run long.
We
'cause
don't
can only
have
spec-
info.
We don't have a lot of
we
information.
can only speculate so much before
Right.
we start running out of ideas and getting into the ridiculous.
So, heck, why don't they send us some of their speculations?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I
if you're
know.
listening to this, send it to the Tumblr.
Speculate!
Post it.
Throw us what your top 3 favorite ideas that we had or that you have that you want to see in the
Because
movie.
we like hearing about
Post it in the Facebook
We do.
of what you want of like
Most
what
of
you
it.
would want to hear.
Yeah.
And just let us know. So what you
We-
want to see, who you want to see.
We do have a Twitter now.
We do.
We do.
We do?
Yeah, it's the Nerdquest Podcast at it's
Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's, look for the Nerdquest Podcast on Twitter. I guarantee you'll find it.
It'll be the link will be in this description along with the Facebook and the Tumblr. And like I guess
We've got an army of social media. Oh, and our Gmail. Our email address.
nerdquestingfornerdquest@gmail.com.
Boom.
There you go.
Truth bomb.
Also, I
can
thought
be
it
a
was
thing,
kind of
yes.
cool. I just want to say this real quick. On our Tumblr, we have another podcast following us. It's called the Nothing Serious Podcast. I don't know if
That
they're.
makes so much sense.
I highly doubt they're listening, but I've researched it and looked it up, and they have. It looks like it's a pretty legitimate podcast. So I thought that was cool that
We
we
have
have.
not like ours.
No, not like ours. Like they have stuff on iTunes and they have
one
stuff
day.
you can download. Hopefully one day. But I thought that was cool that we got something like that to follow.
Also,
us.
we are not
One
affiliated
day,
with the
millions
Nerdquest
of
indie
people
movie.
We are
following
not.
the podcast.
I've neglected to say that the past couple times. We are not affiliated with the Nerdquest indie movie, but I do put it in the description that says we're not affiliated
Yeah.
with it. So
I
same
noticed-
thing.
I've noticed that because I finally actually went online and looked some of them up.
Woo!
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's gonna be it
Oh,
for now.
and-
Next week we're gonna have our GTA 5 podcast. It's gonna be very spoiler heavy.
It'll
okay?
be spoilerific.
It's gonna be.
Come on.
No,
come on.
it's because
no,
it's
we're
gonna be
gonna have
our.
spoiler alerts. And stuff.
It's gonna be our review, and we'll let people know before we even start saying stuff. It's like, hey, spoilers. If you don't want to listen, if you haven't played it, don't listen to it. But we're gonna give our
or
review.
if
we're
you
gonna tell.
don't play it and don't care about spoilers, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna give our review. We're gonna talk about the stuff we did in the game, different
And
things.
we'll have the Sons of Sicily doing this.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
will.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have so Conrad will be back next week, and
Yeah.
and Max will too.
Yes.
If you and so yeah, that's the plan for now. So get ready for that. If you have if you have any questions about the GTA 5 podcast next week, or stuff you want us to answer about it, or any questions about today, just send it, drop it in our ass box.
Wire us your bank account info.
Yeah, social security number. Just put it in our Tumblr or in the Tumblr message, or hell, just come to the Facebook site and
Or Gmail.
or Twitter, since we're everywhere right now.
Everywhere!
But we
Exposure!
also, please, if you can, get the word out to your friends. We
Occasionally family members.
family members
Those
too.
are nice too.
We
Just-
require validation.
We
We do.
want people to listen to
We
us.
want enough audience so I don't feel stupid whenever Jake mocks me about my reaction to the idea that we could have merch.
Yes. Wow. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this week. We hope to have you guys listening in next week, and we hope you enjoyed this podcast this week. So we gotta go and check out more on Fantastic Beasts. So I think it's to the restricted section after this.
Away!
Bye, guys.
Peace out!
Goodbye.